This is Theodore at Lies of the Devil. Go to liesofthedevil.com, where we are at the front line in a spiritual warfare to rip souls away from Satan and to deliver people to Jesus Christ. I'm going to talk about this fake news that's about to happen with this Rachel Maddow lady on MSNBC about tax returns that they received from, who knows where they got it, about Trump. And I'm not defending Donald Trump here, other than he's the president of the United States, and that there's a lot of fake news about what's going on with him. And I'm just going to get right into it. So here's Rachel Maddow, and let's just see what she has to say. This is live. I can't broadcast live because the Oscars kicked us off for doing a commentary and a critique about the satanic Luciferian propaganda that it was doing through its show. And we pointed it out. Anyway, they kicked us off. Even though it was under fair use, they kicked us off. So we can't live stream. So I'm just going to get right into it. Let's listen to what she has to say.
Story. That may be the most important part of this story. When Donald Trump declared as a presidential candidate that he would not release his tax returns, he became the first president since the Watergate era to refuse to release his returns. When Richard Nixon said, "I'm not a crook," he wasn't talking about.
Listen, Rachel Maddow, I wouldn't want somebody digging into my tax returns either. There's a certain piece of privacy that you have as an individual. Now, I don't know what's in Donald Trump's tax returns, and there's nothing that most people do not hide anything in their tax returns. Maybe some do. I don't know, the IRS giving out billions of dollars of taxpayers' money to people that commit fraud and scams, and they haven't. I don't know what they've done to try to stop that. Okay? But there's certain privacy people want. Why are you mad at this guy who's been running a private corporation for many years before he became Trump, and all of a sudden you're mad because he wants to keep a portion of his life private?
Under audit, that never made sense, because even the initial precedent for presidents releasing their tax returns, even Richard Nixon was under audit when he released his tax returns. And since we later learned he was cheating on his taxes, it seems like that was maybe an audit. Well,
lots of people are under audits when they're running for government positions. The treasurer, Geithner, I believe is his name, was under an audit when he became the treasurer of the Federal Reserve. It happens a lot. Stop inflating the ideas and causing fear and paranoia. It's ridiculous.
Release their tax returns to the public every year. So that excuse from Trump and from the Trump campaign, it never made sense. Being under audit is not an excuse for not releasing your tax returns as a candidate or certainly as president. Also, the audit excuse never made sense for his past tax returns. I mean, even if Donald Trump wanted to release nothing that's under current audit, well, what about years for which the audits are completed and closed? I mean, any year of his taxes before, say, 2008,
Donald Trump said, this is so, I mean, people are listening to this. This is crazy the way this woman is talking, okay? Donald Trump specifically said, I pay millions of dollars in CPAs to pay as little as tax as possible. The IRS even tells you that you should be honest, but you should not pay more taxes than necessary, okay? People, it's not hard to file a tax return if you're a small business guy, okay? It's really not that hard. It's very easy. But when you're running multiple corporations and you're having a lot of money, it can be very difficult. And that's why they have CPAs and all that stuff like that. And so this woman, what she's talking about past audits, I mean, how come we're not able to see that? People, this thing is, it's insane. It's fake news. It's not even journalism. It's propaganda, and it's people giving you their opinion without looking into the actual sources. And I can't wait to see this tax return. I guarantee you, all they're going to do is say, it's unfounded. We don't know enough on his tax returns, but just the stuff that we have in these tax returns leaves us to wonder what's going on. So you want to know where he bought all of his equipment from? That's a tax deduct. You can deduct that. You want to know where he spends all of his advertising money? Do you understand what I'm trying to get at? I mean, it's crazy.
a few years at a time when housing prices in that area were dropping and not rising. I mean, if this isn't just some Russian oligarch dumping almost $60 million into Donald Trump's pocket for no discernible reason, couldn't Trump tax returns clear that up? Wouldn't Trump's taxes show whatever reasonable real estate inflow and outflow might explain what otherwise really does look like a bizarre dump of tens of millions of dollars of Russian money into Donald Trump's coffers? Right at a time when Donald Trump owed tens of millions of dollars to Deutsche Bank, and Deutsche Bank was breathing down his neck.
I bet she'll never talk about Hillary Clinton funneling millions of dollars through a Russian bank that's owned by Putin and their federation. I bet she'll never talk about that. He's already admitted he's got tons of real estate all over the world. People, are you listening to how insane this is?
Very large influx of cash from a Russian guy. The vice chairman of that bank until recently was our new Secretary of Commerce, longtime Trump friend Wilbur Ross. Couldn't the tax returns sort this out for us? If there are inexplicable dumps of foreign money into the president's coffers that cannot be explained in normal business terms, that's potentially a huge problem for somebody who's serving as president of the United States, right? I mean,
are you listening to what this woman is saying? That if this tax returns don't account for every single dime and all these millions of dollars that are dumped in these quote-unquote coffers, okay, when this just means count, she's just using a cryptic term to try to scare you. Isn't that a potential problem? It's a potential problem to walk down the street, you might get hit by a car. Okay, that's a potential problem. It's a potential problem that if you go down to tie your shoelaces and you can't see what's ahead of you, that some little kid might come kick you in the head, or you might actually. I mean, the potentiality is innumerable, and for them to raise the and to use this language to cause fear in you is just it's insane, people. Listen to what these people are saying. Listen to their words. It's all cryptic language to cause fear.
this Russian oligarch is just one of the continuing sources of intrigue about whether our president now has foreign ties that could conceivably be motivating his actions as president. And I say it's ongoing concerns because it is ongoing concerns. It's not just interesting stuff that happened in his past that we have to worry about in the past. I mean, during the presidential campaign, Dmitry Rybolov's private plane was spotted at least twice at local airports when Donald Trump campaign events were happening nearby. At least once, his private plane was spotted on the tarmac right alongside Donald Trump's private plane while Donald Trump was doing a campaign event. Rybolov insists to us that that is a coincidence, but tonight the Palm Beach Post reports that this weekend, secretary and the guy who inexplicably paid him all that money for that house and the newly installed chairman from the bank that holds more of his debt than any other financial institution. When the Trump administration, when the president and his attorney general inexplicably moved on Friday to fire all of the U.S. attorneys, all of a sudden, on Friday, no warning, get out, you're done by midnight. The Preet Bharara firing in New York was of note and particular concern because President Trump and Attorney General Jeff Sessions had both previously told Preet Bharara he could continue to hold that job. It is a particularly newsworthy firing that they did an unexplained U-turn on that because of Bharara's jurisdiction. Bharara's office is pursuing a federal case against Deutsche Bank for Russian money.
Sorry, my mic was on mute, but what I was trying to get at is with this Russian guy that all of a sudden his plane showed up next to Trump. Listen, they're business partners. They didn't roast it for a long time. It could have been the guy just supporting his business partner, his buddy, okay? She's bringing up, don't talk about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch at a tarmac talking when, in fact, after they met, that scandal, that all of a sudden a FISA document went through the court system to try to dig up trash on Trump with connections to Russia. Now she's bringing up an attorney general that all of a sudden this attorney general was fired after Bill Clinton let go of 99 attorney generals. All of a sudden, Trump and his administration finally says, hey, it's a good idea to probably purge because we've got people leaking information. Get rid of this attorney general. He's 46, not 99, but the 46th one or whatever the case being. And she's bringing that up like it's a big deal. Bill Clinton get rid of 99. And I'm sure that there were attorney generals that were looking into certain cases. But this guy, all of a sudden, because he was looking into Fox News and trying to sue them or whatever the case being, and he was let go of as attorney general, all of a sudden there's a huge conspiracy. I mean, these people they're crazy. They're absolutely nuts. And they're grasping at straw men. They're grasping at air.
Tax returns are of interest because if he has received income from foreign sources, as he did in that Azerbaijan deal, the origin of that income may have national security implications. If by any chance it follows those same contours back to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard.
Don't worry about Obama and his administration sending $500 million, whatever plus dollars into ISIS territory, just dropping cash. Don't worry about that. And just listen to these people. May have potentiality. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, these people are crazy. And for her to even suggest this type of stuff, for her to even call herself a journalist is sick. It's absolutely sick. And it should make anybody else that's looking at this go, wow, if this isn't fake news, I don't know what is. Okay? They're trying to make you question reality. They're trying to make you go, what's real, what's not real. They're trying to keep their paradigm of lies in solid state. They don't want it to crumble. And the more they try to fake people and the more they try to lie, the more people are recognizing this is bull. This is not reality.
What explains the Trump administration's caginess around Michael Flynn, and specifically around Michael Flynn's financial ties to Turkey? Well, you know what? It would be helpful to see the tax returns. I mean, what kind of income has Trump Towers Istanbul provided to President Trump through his business? Is any of that income for the president from the Turkish government? Did Turkey have a financial relationship with the president? Do they continue to have a financial relationship with the president? Is there anything about the president's financial and business entanglements that is potentially driving presidential actions around the issue of Turkey, the unexplained questions and caginess that is explained around the issue of Michael Flynn and his firing? There are definitely personality-driven and petty reasons to seek the president's tax returns. Is he not as rich as he says he is? Is he not as charitable as he says he is? Was he in fact under audit when he was using that as an excuse to not release his tax returns? Was that worse than just a bad excuse? Was he really being audited? There's small reasons to be interested, right? But whether it's for small reasons or big reasons, there has been an unrelenting demand by people to see his tax returns. More than 1 million people have signed the White House petition demanding that he release his tax returns. In 19 states, legislation has now been filed that would actually keep him off the ballot in 2020 unless he releases his tax returns before the re-election campaign. On tax day this year, next month in Chicago, activists are raising money right now to fly a 16-foot inflatable chicken with Trump's hairdo. over their tax day protest as a helium balloon. They're demanding that the president stop being so chicken about releasing his tax returns. Literally today in Missouri, these protesters were outside Senator Roy Blunt's office demanding that the president release his tax returns. That sign in the front there says...
You know, I'm sorry, it was just me for a little bit. My wife came to help, but you know, sorry, this isn't the best broadcast, whatever the case being, but, you know, these people, I mean, are you just listening to how insane they are? I keep saying that word because there's nothing else to explain it. They have nothing. There's absolutely nothing. It may, the potential could be, possibly, maybe. They have no facts whatsoever. They're trying to connect dots that aren't even there. You know, the Bible says in Psalm 100, I think I got this from Kobe Lance, 100, he that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. Eventually, people are going to figure this out, and they're not even going to pay attention. Just, you know, if they got God in their heart, spread the news, tell the people the truth, what's really going on. They're just going to look at this stuff. There's like, whatever. But here's the thing. They've got unlimited funding from communist China. Hollywood's got unlimited funding from communist China. You know, MSNBC, I'm sure that they get money from some philanthropist like George Soros. I'm sure they get it from the government. I'm trying to tell you here that these people are a bunch of liars. It's all propaganda. It's all fake. They're all actresses, actors. Listen to their words and just realize how insane they are and how ridiculous they are and how they're telling you lies. I don't know. People will figure it out.
To an individual, to an institution, to a country. And now that he's president, we won't know if he tries to use the resources and power of our country to pay off that entity to whom he is beholden. We can't know any of that without...
You mean Hillary Clinton and her foundation taking foreign money from people who hate gays and lesbians, who are causing mass murder and democide? You mean, are you talking about that? That possibility that actually happened and she was going to be our president? Or are you talking about President Trump, who doesn't take money from these type of people and might have connections to Russia? And your term, the way that you look at things? You've got to be kidding me. How can you look at this stuff and think that it's sane? And these are the people that are brainwashing individuals in this country to become godless, demonic, brainless people that they want power. These people, would you want individuals like this running the country? The people spoke up. They don't want Hillary Clinton. They don't want people like that running the country. But think about these people that would run the country like this Rachel Maddow lady. There would be no, it's all relative. There's no truth. There's no truth in anything. It's whatever you want it to be. 1 + 1 = 3. 2 + 2 = 7. They're trying to take the language and invert it and put it up on top of its head and trying to just cause dissension. They're trying to cause confusion. They're trying to cause fear. They're doing whatever they can to just scramble the minds of the American people. This is what Satan does. Confuse people. Because once the mind goes, the soul is very, very easy. They call murder good. They call evil good, good evil. So they're all for abortions. They're all for women's rights. Listen, you want to get an abortion? Pay for it for yourself. Don't ask other people to pay for it, okay? We don't want to kill your babies. You know, it's the holy word, God's word in the Bible is so amazing. And when people know the truth will set you free. John 8:32, okay? And we went out and we preached and evangelized to people at the mall. And I made a video about it in the live war diary updates. And people are looking for the truth. They're so scrambled. They're so confused. They have no idea what's going on. You've got Christian pastors that are telling people that New Age mysticism and pagan gods and Witchcraft is Christianity. The Shack, okay? Just by giving out a few DVDs, it's going to change people forever who watch that DVD, and they're going to go out and they're going to become soldiers for Christ, and they're going to speak the truth, okay? Evil people, the time that you have is very, very short. Satan's time is very short, and we're not at the time where the Antichrist has come onto the stage yet, but these people are really trying hard, and God's in control. He can do whatever he wants. And if he doesn't want the Antichrist to come, because there's a few remnant of people that want to fight back against a New World Order system that's trying to brainwash you, he'll take back that punishment. He'll prolong it to see what our next generation is going to do. He'll see what the remnant's going to do. And these people right now, if you don't stand up as a Christian and you don't go after these people and say how much they're lying and whatever the case being, you're a partaker in their sins, leading people astray. And whatever souls that they put into hell, you're a partaker of that. Okay? It's at a break right now. Rachel Maddow's at a break. And honestly, I don't even think I'm going to do the rest of her show. It's so ridiculous. Anybody that has half a brain, okay? Anybody that has half a brain will look at this and just and understand. Here we go. Let's go back to this real quick.
2005. I believe this is the only set of the president's federal taxes that reporters have ever gotten a hold of. What we have are these 2 pages, front and back, from the same 1040 form that you might have filled out when you file your taxes. And in terms of what's on here, let me give you the basics. Aside from the numbers being large, these pages are straightforward. He paid $38 million, looks like $38 million in taxes. He took a big write-down of $103 million. More on that later. If you add up the lines for income, he made more than $150 million in that year. Mazel tov. We got these pages. We got this document.
So they talk about Jewish anti-Semitism and whatnot, and she goes ahead and mazel tov, mazel tov, after there's nothing there. After there's nothing there in this guy's tax returns, the president's tax returns, mazel tov? When has she ever used that terminology? And they call us anti-Semitic when we try to speak the truth, or when Trump has Jewish heritage in his bloodline, and she goes ahead and she does something that insane. If you didn't pick that up, people, this woman is dangerous.
No more tax than legally required. That being said, Mr. Trump paid $38 million, even after taking into account large-scale depreciation for construction on an income of more than $150 million, as well as...
Nothing wrong with construction and depreciation. That's all lawful, okay? Nothing wrong with buying equipment that you can take off of your taxes. Nothing wrong with when you're traveling and you can actually deduct travel mileage from your taxes. There's nothing wrong with taking the tax laws and utilizing it in the right way. Now, there are Christian pastors out there that are actually fooling you all, saying that they're not tax protesters, or that they're not paying or that they don't pay taxes or whatever because of a church ministry, when they're running a business operation, and they're fooling you big time, and they're lying in their pockets. Okay, go after those type of people. Leave regular working people alone. Leave us alone.
Made and paid that year. Here's the thing, though. A full tax return for someone like Donald Trump would be a lot longer than the 2 pages that we have here. There are all kinds of...
No, you moron. I bet you've never filed a tax return. A 1040 is the accumulative of all your business expenses and all the forms that you fill out. That 1040 says it all, baby. Okay? What she's talking about is an outright lie. This is fake news. If you right now, anybody that's a tax business person that understands what's going on, this right now, what she just said, out of all the different pieces of paper, I'm sorry I'm getting worked up, okay? I'm sorry I'm emotional, because this is crap. This is fake news at the nth degree. For her to say, well, all the files of this should be paying, blah, blah, blah. A 1040 is your personal taxes. That's, even if you have business, even if you have multiple businesses, it's tied to a social security number, and everything that you do, And that 1040, that is the big shebang. That's everything that you pay for. Okay, that's all the numbers accumulative, and those two pieces of paper. So for her to say there's all those different packages, and why did he only give us 1040s, and this is all we have for 2005? It's because that's it. That's all the taxes in those two pieces of paper. It doesn't matter what all the other stuff is. And she'll probably say, oh, the potential of him doing nefarious financial dealings might be in the 100, 200, 300, 400, all the different pages of tax documents that are out there. Okay? People, it's fake news. These people do not care about anything but getting ratings and making money. And there's many lies and many strawman arguments throughout this whole presentation, but that one thing right there, that these 1040 forms, this is all we have. Why can't we get a hold of the rest of the forms? And to say, and to try to cause doubt in people that he's not releasing, that is such a lie. Any business person will tell you a 1040 is all of your worth, all of your assets.
Do these numbers seem right to you? Obviously, the White House statement to us is reiterating the $150 million income number and the $38 million paid number. Those numbers seem right to you?
Yes, and they fit the things we know from other public records about how Donald does business. For example, the dividends that he gets are primarily not what are called qualified dividends. That suggests they come from not big companies like ExxonMobil, but privately held enterprises. They show almost no tax-exempt interest, about $49,000. That would imply at the time maybe $900,000 of municipal bonds. Not much. I mean, there are lots of college professors out there my age who have $900,000 in municipal bonds. What's most important about this tax?
Donald Trump knows the system very well, and he is highly invested in this system. The only way that they're going to bring Donald Trump down is if they implode the economy and they destroy the economy. And he knows that, and they know that, okay? The laws are not hard to figure out, and as long as you obey the laws and you do the right thing, it's very easy to become rich. It's very easy to take out loans. It's very easy to cause a lot of debt and become very rich. And you know what? He did that, and he did a good job by it, and he did it all legally. And they're mad because he figured out the system in a legal way and did the right thing, and it isn't lying. It isn't trying to cheat people on their taxes, which, again, I'm going to say this, and you better understand, there's people out there that are saying that they are not tax protesters. And if you dig far enough, it's all online. Okay? Just look up their name, and I'll just throw this out there. Employee punch hole system, tax, employee cards, what is it? Tax punch hole system, employee time clocks. Look up the person's name, employee time clocks. Or look up the person's name, employee time clocks, and maybe their lawyer. See what their lawyer has to say.
Experts in them. I want to say it back to you, and you tell me if I'm getting it right. If there weren't something called the alternative minimum tax, you can tell from this 1040, from these 2 pages from his tax return in 2005, if there weren't an alternative minimum tax, he'd be paying what percent?
It's right on line 44. He would have paid $5.3 million, which is 24% of his $152.7 million of positive income. And that's in large part because he was able to...
Google, all these companies that are here in America that are selling, they don't pay a dime in taxes, and they make a lot more money than Donald Trump, okay? These people, I was going to use a word maybe that wasn't appropriate, but this guy right here, he does the same thing Donald Trump does. He takes advantage of the tax laws. He takes advantage of the tax deductions that the IRS offers. Did people know this in business, that you can actually write off advertising? So you pay a commercial on television or radio, whatever you pay, you can actually write that off. Did you know you can write off municipal bonds? You can write off the IRS. People don't understand, okay? They say that the IRS is such bullies, and the IRS gives so much leeway when it comes to taxes that as long as you understand the laws, it's a very good thing. When people try to screw the system, they try to hurt the system, they try to lie to people, and they say that they're innocent, okay? There's evil in government, and it happens, okay? There's evil people in police, and it happens. But for people to say that I followed the laws, I did all this, that, and the other, and hide evidence from you, like somebody who says that they're not a tax protester, but had an employee punch hole system, okay, card system to keep track of employees, they leave out that little piece of evidence, okay? But they'll go ahead and say that they're not a tax protester. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you right now? Go dig into that information. They leave out that nice piece of nugget, that golden nugget for you because they want to fool you. And these people are doing the same thing. They're taking the information, that truth, and they're just manipulating it, and they're telling you lies and giving you fake news and just trying to put all kinds of crap down your throat. It happens very much so in the Christian community. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you right now? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Go look up the person's name and look up employee time clock. Do you understand what I'm saying? Go do that.
He traveled with the son of the head of the reputed Russian mob boss, himself a twice convicted felon. He says, I wouldn't know if he was in the room, even though they were together all the time, traveling. And many other criminals he has associated with throughout his life. So it's particularly relevant for us to say, where'd you get the money?
David Cay Johnston is the editor and founder of DCReport.org. He is the one who obtained this Donald Trump tax return 2005. David, can you stay with us for a moment?
Sure.
We're going to bring my colleague Chris Hayes into this discussion. And I want to get back to this issue about the sources of Trump's money and also the source of this document tonight. We have published this 2005 tax return from the president on maddowblog.com. We've also linked to David Cay Johnston's extensive reporting on this on DCReport.org. David's back with us in a moment. Stay with us.
I'm going to say something here. America is a great country. This country is it's a good country. Now, I understand people do evil things in government. Happened throughout history. Look at King David, what he did. You know what I mean? Look at King David. He killed his own soldier to get to Bathsheba, his wife. Okay? He actually killed her husband so that he could get to her. Okay? Government's evil. It does evil things sometimes. And people that have power, they do evil things sometimes. But I'll tell you this much. I've seen the world. America's a very good country. It's a very blessed country, and we should be very happy. And it's not hard to follow the laws. Okay? People do evil things. And you can't help that. Police officers do evil things. You can't help that. But you know what? As Christians, Paul says specifically, I don't know where it's at in the Bible, exactly, Romans, somewhere in Romans, government is of terror to no good works, or government is of no terror to good works. Okay? People need to understand that these people that are going out and saying that the IRS is a fraud and that the IRS, listen, I don't care about the IRS, all right? It's just it's instituted by the government and you have to deal with it, just whatever, okay? But to say that the taxes are wrong and that you shouldn't be paying taxes and it's unconstitutional, listen, buddy, God said specifically to pay tribute to Caesar, okay? Now, you can have a philosophical debate as to what tribute actually means. Tribute means paying your respects, paying a gift. Do you give unto Caesar's what is Caesar's, give unto God's what is God's? Where do you pay that tribute money? Now, you can get into, you pay all the tribute money, all the money to God's business, and in which case is it tax-free? Okay? Or is it, or if you pay tribute to the government and that you follow the government like you're, bowing to Baal, bowing your knee to Baal, do you pay everything, all that tribute to the government then? Okay? People get in that philosophical debate all the time, but I'm telling you right now, there's nothing wrong with what this guy did with his tax returns, Donald Trump's tax returns. You have all kinds of write-offs and deductions that you can take advantage of. It's to help grow the economy. When people hide a Christian ministry, they fool people and they lie to people. And believe me, I got suckered into it, okay? But at some point when you figure it out, you better just go, something's wrong here, and stop being ignorant. And I think you all know what I'm talking about. But when somebody tries to hide their Christian ministry or whatever it is they're doing, building a church, whatever the case being, and they're trying to utilize that as a way to build an enterprise and to pocket to line their pockets with money and taking advantage of Christians, a nice shiny badge that says, I'm a Christian just like you. Let's be Christians together. Oh, by the way, rebel against the government. Don't pay your taxes and this, that, and the other. Oh, but I'm not a taxpayer, but don't pay your taxes. Oh, I don't, but you pay your taxes, but don't pay your taxes. And then they lie to you. That person that was running as president, I'd question about. But this person, Donald Trump, it's legitimate. You guys get the point, okay?
A week ago.
I believe that President Trump should release his taxes.
I believe that President Trump should release his tax returns. Crowd goes wild. You can see Congressman Knight's constituents very happy with that answer. Americans overwhelmingly tell pollsters now that President Trump should release his tax returns. I should mention, though, 3 days after Congressman Steve Knight said that to his constituents at that town hall in his home district, 3 days after that, he voted against forcing Donald Trump to release his taxes. Congressman Knight was one of 226 House Republicans who voted in favor of keeping Trump's taxes under wraps. The only Republican to vote in favor of the public seeing Donald Trump's tax records is this guy, Cay Johnston of North Carolina. He's the only one, the only Republican. For what it's worth, Congressman Mark Sanford of South Carolina, he had the courage to vote.
That's it. She did her diatribe. She's going to say that we need more information on his tax returns. This whole thing was about ratings. It was about throwing out fake accusations, false news. I'm going to upload this. People, there's a very big deception going on in the world, and I'm sorry that some of this broadcast or the filming of this was jumpy. It's just two people running the whole show. My wife is writing a book. She's very busy. I'm very busy. I've got to make sure we pay bills and stuff like that while trying to run a ministry. And so I'm just letting you know, I'm sorry it's not the best, okay? I'm probably going to get flack for it with, trolls or whatever the case being, but anybody that's paying attention will understand it is what it is. So think twice, 3 times, 4 times as to what you're being told. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I'm going to end this and just prayer and just asking God to show us the truth, okay? Ooh, John 8:32. I live by a few verses. John 8:32 is one of them. My favorite is, you will know them by their fruits. And I might be paraphrasing there, but I don't believe I am. You will know them by their fruits. Here we go. John 8:32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Thank you, Lord Jesus Christ, for making me free and helping me understand the truth. And God is amazing. And I hope you get to know him. He's so good. And the only freedom that's in this world, the only freedom is the Lord God, Jesus Christ, the creator of the universe. He sets you free.